Every country has organized crime, but not all criminal organizations are equal in notoriety. Despite the Italian, Russian, and Albanian mafias being the most widely publicized, they are not the most effective nor the most brutal. While the top crime families from these parts of the world compete amongst themselves for certain areas of business, other gangs dominate different industries with an iron grip. These other organizations are also not equal. The largest and most feared of all comes from a tiny country called Iceland. This is the story of the Icelandic Mafia. Iceland has a total population below 400,000 and one of the world's lowest crime rates, so it might surprise you that the world's most violent crime family was founded here. The Björn Dononsson family first came to prominence during the Second World War by extorting seals. Before the war, the family's breadwinner made his living as a seal bodyguard, protecting the creatures from hunters in exchange for sea dollars. But with Germany blockading Iceland, the seal meat industry came to a halt. The seal were without need of protection, meaning Hago had to find a new line of work. Months passed without employment and the family began to starve. Seal work was all Hago knew. He even studied their language at university. If he was going to support his family, it would rely on their involvement. He realized at this point the seal would not willingly pay him for protection. So one day, he and his sons rode out towards their colony and demanded all Icelandic seal pay tribute to the family, promising that those who refuse will be driven into the sea. As seals already are in the sea, this was not much of a threat, and none paid tribute. Only when the penalty was changed to being beaten to death did the seal begin to pay. And by 1945, the family was making $20 million per year. But after the war was over and the blockade of Iceland fell, the seals swam away. Sick of the extortion imposed on them, they went north to found their own country. Invading the Norwegian island of Jan Mayen, the Seal Republic was established. Defensive positions were taken to ensure the Republic's survival, and still today they hold the island, having fought off both human and polar bear. With no seal left in Iceland, the Björn Dononsson family were left without income, but by now they had become accustomed to a life only vast wealth could provide. With the last of their sea dollars, the family relocated to Calgary, Canada, where due to their ridiculous name they came to be known as the Icelandic Mafia. Outside of the local zoo, there were no seals to be found in Calgary, and as they were banned from the zoo in 1946, their income once again ran dry. But that was okay. Hago knew the world of organized crime was changing. Gone were the days where terrified seals were enough to support a crime family. If they were to survive, the family would need to adapt. Today, the Icelandic Mafia dominate Canada's illegal maple syrup market. Hago died in 1974. The family is now led by his grandson, Davio. They call Davio the Pablo Escobar of maple syrup. Over 90% of the world's illegal maple syrup is supplied by the Icelandic Mafia, earning an estimated $900 million per year. With that kind of money to be made, they have countless rivals within Canada, some of which being legitimate maple syrup companies wondering what kind of people would buy such a product on the black market. In fact, their most powerful rival is the Maple Syrup Union, Canada's most influential pressure group, but even they can't push the government to take action against the Icelandic Mafia. Some speculate both the Canadian and American governments turn a blind eye to the organization's activity, with maple syrup smuggled across the border usually without problem. The Icelandic Mafia is unlike any other mob. Its leader is chosen by an unusual contest. Every 2 years, whoever could carry a woman against her will and cover the most distance is elected leader. Unlike other mobs who often see members promoted by means of killing superiors, this allows them to maintain a circle of experienced members. Little else is known about the organization's structure. One thing we do know is they are more ambitious than ever, and they have their sights set on Latin America. In the 1980s, the Icelandic Mafia saw the potential of gaining territory in Mexico, but with drug cartels wielding so much power, it would be almost impossible to do this without allies. In order to gain a foothold, the Icelandic Mafia made a pact with a colony of Mormons in northern Mexico. The colony had long been in Mexico. When the US government forced Mormons to stop practicing polygamy, some fundamentalists headed to Mexico, where they could still practice it. They established farming colonies to support their ever-growing families. Local cartels saw this as a new opportunity for extortion, but the Mormons refused to pay, and a war broke out between them. The Icelandic Mafia chose to ally themselves with the Mormons. At this point, they were led by Björn Dononsson. Inspired by the Mormons' polygamous ways, he took 37 wives. But on realizing how much work it is living with that many brides, he turned on the Mormons, and in a fit of rage swore to side with the cartels and destroy them. It was this declaration that doomed their chances of seeing any success in Mexico. He, like so many, underestimated Mormon's strength. If there's one thing Mormons know, it's explosives. The Icelandic Mafia were chased out of Mexico before nightfall and have not returned since that day. But they are now far stronger than ever before. If they were to return to Mexico today, the family might defeat both the Mormons and local cartels. Many investigators into the Icelandic Mafia believe this will be their next move, but only time will tell.